Too much too much power going around. So, did that song give you hope? A bridge over troubled water, I'll be there by your side. Yeah. Now, when you feel hope, what does that feel like? Do you feel empowered and strong? And sometimes hope can be that place of doubt. I'm hoping it'll happen. I hope it's okay. I hope there's a bridge over troubled water when I need it, right? It's not necessarily a very strong word, not very necessarily a strong word. Now, this week we are going to be exploring this spiritual idea of hope and the way it has been used in traditional religions and the way that science of mind uses it. And I will admit to a discovery this week in my own life. And there you go. So it's going to be fun. My talk in our myth busting series is Whispering Hope, which is why the Statler brothers were going to sing that song to us. But I thought you would appreciate this one a little more. So we did that. Now, I was raised in a faith that taught that all I could do was hope that I could one day be good enough to receive God's love. And that was one of those that taught that I was bad, inherently bad from the beginning. Remember, we talked about that, right? And if I ever hoped to go to heaven, then I would have to live a God fearing, hell and damnation avoiding life. I'm glad I found something different. Yeah. In my studies of the science of mind, Ernest Holmes has a quote, and it was one of the first ideas that I got as I began this study. I guess it resonated because of the idea of hope and the other philosophy that, or the other religion that I was raised in. And his quote is, "Hope is good. It is better than despair, but it is not. But it is a subtle illusion." And is an unconscious compromise having no part in an effective mental treatment. So Holmes would seem to say it's okay, but, right? And that's the quote that I kind of was hanging on to around the idea of hope in the science of mind. Yet in my study this week, I have come across a great deal of quotes from Ernest Holmes and a lot of his different writings about hope that were much more empowering around the idea of hope. And he had a tendency to equate it to God and to love and to more of that side of the equation, if you will, than the law and the affirmative prayer treatments. And I still agree with him that hope doesn't have a place in affirmative prayer. Hope does not have a place in our affirmative prayer. Hope in a treatment will not get you what you're treating for. Because if you're hoping, you're not knowing, right? And in treating, we know. We are affirming what we're praying about. We're affirming that it's already here, it's already done, right? So there's no place for hope in that. So I still agree with him on that particular usage of hope. And there are times in our life when we need a little hope, isn't there? When we need that bridge over troubled waters in our lives. It could be the first rung on the ladder to self-realization. If we're in one of those dark nights where we're face down on the floor and we can't see a way out, hope is what reminds us. I don't know what it is, but there might be a way out. I need my spiritual community. I need to call my prayer partner. I need to call my practitioner. Please know the truth for me, because right now I can't know it. I got the diagnosis and I can't see any differently. I feel horrible and I can't get myself out of it. I've lost everything and I can't see a way out. Those are the moments when we need hope. And those are the moments in this community where we have lifelines with each other, with our practitioners and ministers. and with our prayer partners. So hope has a place in religious science. Absolutely. Absolutely. Ernest Holmes, again, who is the founder of Centers for Spiritual Living and the author of the Science of Mind text we teach from, he says that God, or get the quote, having recognized the divine presence as your guiding star of hope, assurance, and certainty, be equally certain that you recognize the universal law of mind as your servant. The law is the principle you are to use. Your faith in this law causes it to act upon that faith to bring into your experience those things you accept. Yeah, I think that is more clarity around hope. That the divine presence is our guiding star of hope. That is the connection that we have, but equally certain that the universal law is our servant. Is our servant. And that's what I want to talk a little bit more about this morning, because I think he's talking about love and law here. And Holmes started his embodiment, I guess, of the teachings in with the King James version of the Bible. That's what he was raised with as his family. He then discovered Emerson. And he often said that Emerson was like drinking water for him. It was just so powerful for him, the philosophy of Emerson. Then he worked with Emma Curtis Hopkins and found the mystical. And he found Thomas Troward, Judge Thomas Troward. And Troward wrote a lot about the law. He was a judge and he understood metaphysics. And so he taught metaphysics from the perspective of the law. And this brought it all together for Ernest. He said that it finally all gelled as to what this science of mind philosophy was going to be, with all of those combinations of ideas and thoughts. But the law is really the part that made it come together for him. And it is said of him, though we don't know if it's true, it was said of him that he wished he'd have talked more about love than law, because he did talk about the law a lot. But he's got this book called Love and Law, and it is a compilation of students' notes that were taken early on in his career from his lectures, his Q&As. He used to travel with stenographers who would take down everything for him. And so some of these old yellowed pages were combined and put together into the book called Love and Law. And he's very I don't know, point blank with us in this book. I mean, he's not sugarcoating his words. And so in Love and Law, he's talking about that balance, right? He's talking about that balance. And I guess the question would be, if God is love, how is God law also? Isn't God just one thing? How can it be love and law? In the Science of Mind, we teach the creative process. And you've probably heard it. You've seen our symbol in the bookstore in the front lobby. And there's 3 steps of that. And it's the idea, the law, and then the manifestation, or the seed, soil, and plant. That's the teaching metaphor that we use for it. But in reality, it's all God. That's why there's a circle around it. It's indicating that it's all still God. It's all still one. God is the idea, God is the law, and God is the manifestation. It is the 3 operations of one operator, because there's only God, there's only one, right? So it's 3 operations of one operator. Love points the way, and law makes the thing possible. That was something that Ernest often said. Love points the way, law makes the thing possible. I'm going to invite you to think about a car. Think about a car. We may not know exactly how the car operates, but we do know it is a transport vehicle, right? We know that it is going to transport us down the road. That's the law. The car is the law. Now, it's not going to go anywhere if we're sitting in hopefully, if we're sitting in our house, right? It's not going to just go off and do things for us, maybe in the future, but right now it won't. So we are love. We are love. We are giving that car direction instructions on where it's going to go. If I want to go to the grocery store, I get in the car, I turn it on, and I give it direction, my direction through my guidance to go to the grocery store, right? Now, when I get in that car to go to the grocery store, I probably have a grocery list. I might have my recyclable shopping bags, right? I'm going to the grocery store. Have you heard the story of the little girl that was in the village and they were praying for rain? It had been a drought and they were praying for rain. She shows up to the prayer meeting with her umbrella. And they said, "Well, honey, what are you doing with an umbrella? It hasn't rained in weeks." And she says, "Aren't we praying for rain?" Do we have that belief in our prayers? The belief of the that's going to rain, the umbrella we take with us, the shopping list we take to the grocery when we get in our car. When we have that level of belief, that's when our prayers will manifest for us. Are we hoping the car is going to go to the grocery? No, we pretty much know it's going to go to the grocery because I'm telling it to go to the grocery, right? That's the difference. That's the difference in hope and knowing when we are using our affirmative prayer treatment. Ernest, in that book, Love and Law, says you will never demonstrate. I told you he was very point blank. You will never demonstrate until behind your mental attitude is the belief that you have received before you have received that thing which is sought. Never demonstrate. That's a big word, isn't it? But that's a very powerful statement for us to remember in our treatment work. Never demonstrate until we have that mental attitude that we received before. Faith is the emotion of belief, and hope gets us off the floor onto that first rung of the ladder that can lead us to faith, that leads us to belief. Faith and belief are the two emotions that are the power in our treatments. When we believe, when we have that mental attitude, as he says, of belief that the thing is already made manifest, right? That it already exists. My groceries are here because I've got my list, my car's taking me, and I'm going there. Now, whether they have what I need or not, that's a different treatment. We're reminded that it is done as we believe. What are we believing when we're treating? Would it be nice if these things happened, or it is so? It's important to get ourselves from hope to faith as quickly as we can so that we can change our experience. So that we can change our experience. Now, we've been told it only takes a little bit of faith. It was Jesus that said, your faith the size of a mustard seed, and nothing will be impossible to you. Size, have you seen a mustard seed? They're pretty tiny, aren't they? It's like that much faith. I think he said something about moving mountains, but we have mountains in our mind, right? And that's it. Sometimes we doubt ourselves. Sometimes we doubt the law. Sometimes we doubt God. We have that dark night of the soul. Why have you forsaken me in my time of trouble? Even Jesus had one of those days. We've probably all had those days. I have. Why is this not working? Right? The world of effects is very convincing, isn't it? We're very convinced of the world of effects, and what has happened in the past is going to happen again. If I tried it and I failed, then I'm going to obviously fail again. If this happens, then that's going to happen. I am a logical person. I know how it works, right? That's what sets us up, though, is that belief. The law looks at that and goes, it's a brand new day. Really? Let's try again. It's a brand new day. I can do anything. I can do anything. It is us that limits ourselves. Science mind teaches us that principle is not bound by precedent, but our minds can be bound up by precedent, can't they? And our memories and our old beliefs and the stories and the things. We can get all bound up in that. But remember, the law is not. God is not. And we don't have to be. We can let all of that go. And that was, that's the beauty of this teaching. Change your thinking, change your life. So letting that go is changing our thinking. A couple of things that we can look at for helping us to unwind some of that. The first is complaining. Now, we did a whole month on giving up complaining and switching our bracelets around. And wherever you are in that process, or if you're in that process or finished with that process, for me, I have realized the importance of it. I don't know about you, but when I'm hearing other people complain, it hurts me. It hurts my ears. And I want to tune it out because it's like, I know what it's doing to you, but I also don't want it in my head because I've let it go, right? I've let it go. So we become very sensitized to complaining. But really, what complaining is doing is it's keeping us in that which we are complaining about. It's keeping us in that. Now, we may think, and most of us do, and I know I did, and I still do when it happens, I am justified in my complaint. They are wrong, right? They're wrong. And yet, the way the law works is that complaining keeps us in it. Because what happens is we say these surface words and we think that's it. But those words have tentacles within us, those belief systems that we've talked about before. And underneath those words is typically something more. Something more. If I'm complaining about the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, what am I really saying? I'm poor. That's what the universe is hearing. But I'm treating for abundance. But where's your emotion? The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Where are your emotions? What do you talk about the most? Right? That's where the conflict comes in and the mixed signals come in. Somebody cuts me off on the freeway. I am justified in complaining about that, right? Somebody cuts me off on the freeway. I don't know why. I haven't had a conversation with them. I don't know if it was intentional. I don't know if it was a mistake. I don't know if they had someplace to be. I don't know. But I have a judgment. I have an opinion, and I'm going to complain about it. So what am I saying? I'm justified. They're rude, right? I'm never rude. I never make mistakes. I'm perfect. That's what I'm saying, right? Exactly. But that's what we're saying. The words are saying one thing, the tentacles are saying something else. What is the message we're sending to the universe? I want more of that. I want more of that. I want more people that are rude, more people that scare me. Because if we've been cut off, we may have been scared, and our reaction is to complain and claim rudeness, when in fact it scared me, and I'm not willing to say, I'm scared. But that's the feeling, and the universe knows that. So be careful in complaining and look beyond the words. Go deeper to see what it is that you're really complaining about, and what message you might be sending to the universe in that. Because remember, those tentacles are in the subconscious, and the subconscious is the most powerful part of us. Runs us 95% of the time, right? All right. The second thing I want to talk about is our I am rewind. I am directives. Our I am directives. So when we say I am, we are affirming something about ourselves, something for ourselves. When we do our affirmation, when we learn affirmations in our teaching, our affirmations are usually I am, right? And so we are not cautious with our I am statements. If we make statements, I am tired, I am broke, I am sick, I am lonely, I am ashamed. we make those statements, we might as well be saying, I affirm I am broke. I claim I am lonely. I know I am sick, right? We might as well add those. I affirm for myself that I am. And so we need to catch ourselves with that language, clean up our language, and turn that around. And statements such as, I'm vitally alive. I am home from work. I am vitally alive. I feel fulfilled from a full day of work and labor and contribution and success. And I am so happy to be in my home where I can relax and enjoy my family rather than I'm tired, right? Rather than I don't have enough money. Look around me in my life and the opulence that I see everywhere, from nature to my home to my library to we've got stuff, right? We've all got stuff. We can appreciate it. It may not be in the form that we think we need, but we can change form, right? We know that. We can change form. If we want it in little green pieces of paper, or if we want it in, a new TV, we can change the form. It's all energy. So watch those affirmations, watch those I am directives that you are giving. If the universal law is truly our servant, what directive are you giving? If you had an assistant that worked for you who every time you gave a directive to them did it, would you always get what you were seeking? Think about that as the universe. Your I am statements are directions to the universe. Is that really what you want? Do you want more tired? Do you want more broke? Do you want more sick? Do you want more embarrassment? Do you really want more of those things? So that's fun, cleaning up our language. Holmes has separated out affirmative prayer as no place for hope. He's pretty clear on that, and I agree with that. I think there's no place for it. I think we stay in that affirming our good, that we've received it before we see it, before it's before we pray about it, we've received it. It is hope, though, is good if it leads us to faith, if it leads us to stronger beliefs, if it gets us up off the floor in those moments of despair. Hope is good. Hope for a better future is good because it can color our perspective and our attitude. But know that when we are truly creating change in our life and change in the world, we must come at it from the standpoint of knowing, affirming, and claiming that which we are seeking, rather than hoping that someone else will take care of it, or hoping that things will get better. I hope things get better, right? There's a difference in the power in those statements. So let's move to our practicing the principles this morning and see how we might change our speaking to change our thinking. A little different twist on that this morning. Now, we have a Mindful Monday little newsletter that goes out on Monday mornings, and it's a synopsis of this talk, as well as the quotes and the details on your practicing the principles that you can use and apply this in your life during the week. And that's available to everyone. If you'd like to sign up, you can do so in the lobby. Use the QR code here, send me an email, and we'll get you on the list for tomorrow. All right, number one. Hello, Law? Are you there? Yes. It always says yes, doesn't it, Daniel? What are we saying to the universe on a regular basis? What are we saying to the universe on a regular basis? Change the negative messages and think before speaking, and ask ourselves in that moment, is what I'm saying, if I'm really talking directly to the law, is what I'm saying what I am seeking? Or what I said, is what I said what I'm seeking? No, I need to negate that and restate what it is I'm seeking. So paying attention to our words. What are we saying? If the law is the servant of us, what are we saying to it to do for us? Because remember, as Daniel said, it just says yes, right? The law says yes. We've heard that. Number two, I am. Pay attention to your I am directives this week. Notice this habit of speaking and where it might be negative in your life. What is your I am? Mine used to be I'm so busy, which was saying I'm overwhelmed, which was sending a subtle message of I'm too busy for you, right? And so when I realized that, I began to clean that up. And when people now say to me, "You're so busy," I go, "No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Really, I'm not. I'm good." So it's those subtleties of the messages and the phrases and things we say. I've said before the one of, "Oh, it's what a pain in the back. What a pain in the back. What a pain in the neck." Sorry. And then people come down with ailments in the back and in the neck and wherever gives me a headache every time I talk to them. Oh, really? So now we're going to get headaches, right? This is how the universe listens to us. We must be aware and cautious of our words. So this week, I want you to take one day, just one day, and focus on what you're saying. Say only positive things. Say only positive things. How about that? One day. Can you do it? One day. Positive, life affirming, prosperous, encouraging I am statements. One day. Can we do it? Can we take that challenge? Yes. Yes. All right. See if anything shifts in your life at the end of the day when you do that. See if anything shifts. All right, good. So, hope is a very beautiful emotion. I don't want to leave you with thinking that hope is something that's bad. It's not. Hope is not bad. Hope is good. And it acts as a real life raft for us. When we are in a dark place or a stuck place or a place of despair or a place of illness, hope is the light in that storm. Hope is the raft in the ocean of pain. Hope is a good thing in those moments when that's all we can hold on to, right? But we can use that to remember that we live in possibilities and there is a way out. The hope is that there is a way out. There is a way up. So cast your word into the law and bring your light back into your life once more. And so it is. And so now it's your turn. So this is time for you to bring forward whatever it is you would like to talk about around faith, hope, creative process, doubt, law of mind, any of the above. I have a portable microphone today that's testing, not testing. Testing, testing. There you go. It works. Who's up? Nancy. Joe, I thought you were coming up.
Thank
You were
you.
just moving.
So what you were saying, Reverend Jill, reminded me of a time when we were given an assignment, and the assignment was to give someone instructions on how to put on a jacket, and we got to watch them. So we had to say each teeny tiny step of this process and watch what happened. And it was eye-opening, definitely. So what you were saying about, being specific, and the universe is always going to say, yeah, the law is always going to say yes. Well, it reminded me of that exercise. So
Great exercise.
yeah.
Yeah. Super. Great exercise because, I if you pay attention to the instructions that you do give other human beings, it comes back something totally different. You go, how did you get that out of what I said, right? And yeah, it's what they come back and tell you what it was, and you go, oh yeah, I see how you could do it that way. Wasn't what I meant. Yeah. So there's room for misinterpretation. Yeah. Who else? Diane.
I'll make this brief, but earlier when I was mentioning that my life was really full, and part of me earlier was thinking, God, I'm so busy, but I know I'm not. My life is just full and prosperous and gloriously so. So those words do really matter.
Yeah, definitely. I've gone to using that too. Fun. I have a full life, not a busy life. I have a full life. Yep.
Yeah, during your talk, a thought occurred to me that I had heard some time ago that hope leaves room for doubt. But it occurred to me that we have choice, and in Science of Mind, every class, every book we ever read, it always says be aware, be aware, be aware, and make your choices, and be aware and make your choices. So just because there's room for doubt doesn't mean we have to fill that space with doubt. We can choose to fill that space with faith.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Stephanie. Yeah.
Mine's a little bit different. So when I first started on my journey, I had no idea what was happening. And so I went to a 12-step program. And I remember sitting there probably like a couple months into it. And they always said, like, you went around the room and you said, I am a da da da, da, finish the sentence. And at the time, I had no idea why that felt wrong to me, right? And so kind of faith and hope in there. I think hope was the bridge. Like I went for a while, and the reason I left is because I was like, I don't want to say those I ams. That seems, but I had no idea why I didn't want to say them
Yeah.
at the time, right? And so for me, it was hope that led me to find a different direction than that. Not to say they don't work for some people, but it just didn't work for me to keep saying those I ams because I knew that what was it? Oh dang, left my mind. Um, okay, I don't have it. It's not coming back to me.
Yeah, that is it's an interesting observation, and that your soul knew at the soul level that that wasn't resonating for you, wasn't right for you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's a step on the path. It's a step on the path. It's Daniel.
Yeah, this reminds me of a quote from Milton S. Hershey. He did something with a candy bar, I think. And you can imagine how busy this guy was in the 1800s and 1900s, early 1900s, running a chocolate factory, chocolate company worldwide. And his one of his famous quotes was, um, "So much time and so little to do."
That's so little to do. I like it. I like it. Anyone else? Anyone else? Going once? Going to Nancy.
Another thought. Okay, so now I have to remember what that thought was. I'll give it back to you. Okay, so when we as humans and not buying into the law, and we say, I hope it's going to happen, it kind of gives us an out. Because if we say, I know it's going to happen, and it doesn't, then we don't want to look inside to see what we did to block that. We just want it.
Hmm.
So that's where I see hope in our anyway.
Yeah,
You want it back?
that's Ernest's quote about you will never demonstrate until behind the mental attitude is a belief that you have received before. Yeah. So hoping, I hope it comes.
It was I when I first started, it was a quote. It just said, "Relapse is not a requirement," right? And I just held on to that. Like you can make those changes, and so that's
Yeah.
I think the hope was strong, right? It wasn't. I didn't know. I wasn't far enough along to know I could make those changes, but there was like this overarching hope. I think there's something out there that's going to help me make these changes.
Yeah. Yeah. Good deal. One last one. Anybody else? Go. Great beginning. Exactly. All right. Whoops. Other button. Sorry. All right. Thank you all for sharing. I so appreciate your comments and your community and coming together and sharing your thoughts and your wisdom with us. And so we will anchor this in prayer this morning. If you would join me for that. So as we just take a breath and we recognize that there is one. There is one life, and that life is God. And all of that is right here present now, in, through, and as me and each one of us gathered here in person, those gathered with us this morning online, and those listening later. For we are all one, that oneness, that there is no separation of time or space, and that no matter where we are connected in that one at all times. We are one in that wholeness of the divine. Knowing that unity, I speak my word for and about each of us as we anchor ourselves in the faith of God, that we are the faith of God, that we hold on to that, knowing that God, spirit, source, essence, presence, the life, whatever we might call it, that doesn't really matter, but just knowing that infinite presence of love within us, that it's always there, and that we can always tap into that, find hope, find our faith, and empower our belief in the knowingness of the good of God, the good of our life, the flow of life, and that all good is ours for the taking, for the receiving, for the accepting. And so I know for anyone that has a prayer in their heart this morning, that as they lift it into the consciousness of this community, into this prayer time, that whatever needs to be healed is healed, revealed is revealed with clarity and ease, that abundance flows and joy and happiness, perfect relationships, creative expression, and a deeper walk with the divine. For all good is ours now as we claim it and call it ours. I speak a special word on my Aunt Joy, knowing the wholeness and perfection of her body. I speak a word for Valerie, knowing the wholeness and perfection of her as well. And for Colette, the beloved angel, doing her work in spirit this morning. And so it is with a grateful heart filled with joy and thanksgiving that I release this into the action and activity of law, knowing that it is done, it is so. And we accept and affirm that together by saying, and so it is.